This YCN segment is brought to you by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide. We go over to the hardwood and the Boston Celtics, who we've talked about a lot this season for obvious reasons, the ups and downs. They get on the West Coast road trip. Big win over the Warriors. I don't think anyone saw this coming the way the last week has turned out with the off-court stuff, even the on-court stuff. I mean, if we forget all about the off-court drama, this team just hasn't been playing that well. That was a big surprise last night with the win.
Yeah, absolutely. This team, they really kind of play to their opponent,
yes,
right?
They do.
I mean, they step up against the Warriors, but then lose to teams like the Heat, teams that aren't very good. And it's really kind of confusing. I think this year you're seeing a lot of these veteran players kind of butt heads with these younger stars who are kind of becoming a little arrogant, a little hot-headed. Guys like Tatum and Brown, they're not getting as many minutes as they think they probably deserve. And they're probably right, they do deserve the minutes, but not when you have guys like Horford and Irving and Gordon Hayward. And Gordon Hayward, he had a big game last night. I think hopefully, he's kind of feeling a little physically a little more better, and mentally he's getting more confident in himself. If he can play like the Gordon Hayward of old, that's going to be a huge boost for this team, because really, I mean, you haven't seen that in much this year at all.
Right. I mean, it's a handful of games here and there, and it's pretty sporadic. It's not like he goes on stretches where 3 or 4 games he plays well. It's one great game, 3 terrible games. So now the big question, can they get out of their funk? They had a pretty terrible February after the All-Star break. They were the last team to win a game after the All-Star break, and then they kept losing after they did win a game. I mean, an embarrassment against Houston. Is this maybe that game? They get away from the home crowd, stop listening and hearing the home press, the crowd who's usually behind them but started to turn on them. What kind of success do they need to have on this road trip to kind of maybe turn the ship around?
Yeah, so I think just the team, they need to root for each other. I think they just need to not worry so much about minutes. I think those younger guys, they're worried about their future because they need those minutes to prove what they're worth to other teams to get paid in the future for their careers. But they just need to worry about winning. If the team wins, everyone does better, right? You win more in the playoffs, you get more games played, all these things. I think as the season goes along and you get closer to the playoffs, they'll kind of come together more, they'll mature more. I think Kyrie Irving, I think he might even start to look ahead to the future, which maybe will kind of loosen things up. He's thinking, okay, I'm going to be out of here next year. Any drama, it's okay, whatever, we'll deal with it. As long as we can win now, that's fine. Hopefully that happens. I mean, Kyrie Irving has been a little bit of a diva lately. I mean, he hasn't really been the leader that we thought he could be. And Brad Stevens, same thing. It's hard for him, I think, to kind of rally these younger guys with these veteran players to get everyone to buy in and listen. But hopefully, as the season kind of comes to an end, starts to get toward the playoffs, everyone comes together and they all realize we all love to win. If we can win, we can all get together, and hopefully, I mean, the team has the talent. They can absolutely do it. So hopefully, they can have a strong run and hopefully get that 2nd or 3rd seed in the East. Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw Kyrie last night. He was laughing, joking, having a great time on the bench towards the end of the game when it was a blowout. But last week, when they were getting their butts kicked, he clearly wasn't happy, and then he talks to the media. So you're right. I think it's that old adage that winning cures all, and I think it's true. If these guys are winning, whether they're getting the minutes or not, but they haven't won consistently this season, and that's shown in the standings as they sit in 5th place, and you mentioned maybe getting that 2 or 3 seed. Right now, they have the talent, but do they have the drive? I mean, where does this season end? I mean, is it a 5th seed and a first-round exit, or do you still think they can get to that Eastern Conference Finals, maybe the NBA Finals?
So they have the talent. I think once they get into the playoffs, they'll kind of come together and they'll play better. I think the players will know their roles. I think the starters will be they'll be pointing out clearly. Hopefully Gordon Hayward, he can continue to play well and he will be a starter. But just those younger players, I think once they have a chance to play in the playoffs again, hopefully they'll understand their role. They'll kind of mature a little bit more and this team can go on a run. I think that's what's going to happen. I expect them to play for the Eastern Conference Finals. Definitely.
And once you get into the playoffs, it's obviously a different animal, but you don't have big nights that are big letdowns. You play a team, you have a couple nights off, you refocus, and you play again. You don't have these letdown spots or these spots that you're going to quit. So still some season to be played. Celtics can still get to that number 2, 3 seed. I think the 1 seed's out of question, but hopefully they get that top 4 seed and at least get home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some Patriots right before the draft coming up. A couple cuts. Who do they need to get in the draft? We'll also make our Salt Hill Pub picks of the week. All that coming up next on YCN Sports Talk.